Are you ready to find out how to make this beautiful stem stitch rose? When I'm using all 6 strands of embroidery floss, I like to use a chenille needle. It has a larger eye. I'm starting out with all 6 strands and just making 3 French knots. So I only used about 8 inches of thread here and start by making 3 French knots in the middle. It just fills out the center a little bit. Now I'm taking about a 3-foot long piece of all 6 strands, thread your needle, and tie the ends together. And so now we're going to have 12 strands all together. Bring your needle to the middle. I come up through the fabric just above the French knots and go about 1/3 of the way around and insert my needle back down into the fabric. Leave a loop and then come up in the center of that loop. Now, as you pull your needle up through the center of that loop, if you feel like the strands get off at all, just pull the strands separately so that they become the same length. Now repeat the process and go about 1/3 of the way around again. Leave a loop and then come up in the center of that loop and pull it kind of snug. And we just continue like this, and this is why I call it the stem stitch rose, because the process of this is very similar to the stem stitch, where you leave a loop and then you come up on the same side of the loop each time. If you've heard another name for this stitch, go ahead and leave it in the comments. I have not heard this called anything else. I like it a little bit better than the woven wheel. It has a slightly different look. And I definitely think that it's much more secure if you're wanting a rosette of some sort on clothing. Now, one trick to keep your strands even is to hold your finger in the loop like this, and then when you pull your thread through, pull it from the very bottom. So I'll show you again here. If you keep the loop held with your fingers, then come up through the middle and tug it right at the bottom, that should keep the strands more even. I'll speed up the process a little bit as we go around. You can do this stitch with just 6 strands of the floss, really any number that you want. It's just going to take a lot longer. And when you double over your 6 strands to use 12, you definitely get a much fluffier rose in the end. A lot more texture. Once you've gone around and filled out the rose, then you're going to go down through the fabric, tie it off in the back. And you can take the eye of your needle and just go around and very gently tug at different spots to get it a little bit fluffier and to fill it out a little bit more, even out any strands. And take a look at that. Isn't that so pretty? You'll have to tell me whether you like this or the woven wheel more. They can look very similar, but I just think this is a lot more secure since you go down through the fabric, and I like the texture a little bit more.